Hey, what's up, guys? Decided that while I'm out running errands, I would give y'all some of my initial impressions of the Craftsman v20 system. I'll do some separate tool-related ones later, but right now this is just talking about the battery system itself and its expansiveness. If you're new to power tools, um, or if you're not that familiar with them, like maybe you just have one or two, then what I'm talking about is the Craftsman power tool company. Craftsman Tools has a line of power tools. Their hand tools are fantastic and have a lifetime warranty that used to be pretty hassle-free. You would just walk into Sears and hand them the broken tool, and they go get you another one and hand it to you. You walk out the door, and I've done that a few times. But I always heard that their battery platform and even their corded platform was trash. Um, I was apprehensive about their pneumatic tools. Bought the pneumatic tools. They've been running great. I use them for a lot of trim work, a lot of carpentry tasks and things like that, where I'm putting in a chair rail or some type of molding after I've done flooring, or building custom cabinetry pieces. So that's been great, and I love the hand tools. I have a lot of it, but I was really apprehensive about getting on their battery platform, and that's because I really need something that's going to work for a long time, hard use every day for several years. It just financially makes more sense, especially doing a contract business. So do contract remodeling. I do a lot of maintenance calls, service calls. So I need my stuff to work all the time. So I use Mikita. I'm very exclusive Mikita user. I've got their 12-volt platform and their 18-volt platform, and that platform is really extensive, and a lot of that's become very normal for most of your battery operated tools, so companies. So the Harbor Freight tool line, very expansive, and even the Walmart tool line, very expansive. So it makes sense, if you're going to be on a platform, to make sure that they offer a wide variety of tools, so that you're not having to continually deal with a bunch of chargers and a bunch of batteries, making sure that the battery for that specific tool is charged or not. So an expansive system is an ideal one. So they've all gone to that because they realize that that's the way the market went. So with your Harbor Freight and your Walmart tools, those are your DIYers, your home hobbyist people who aren't doing hard use, aren't doing your everyday stuff, but they still needed something to take care of a task, but they're not doing professional work by any means. If you put it through the same type of stress that I put through my Mikitas too, you're gonna burn them up really fast beyond their what they're expected to. And on a lot of them, in their warranty information, it specifically says that if you're using it as contractor type use, if you're using it professionally, that the warranty isn't going to cover anything. It even said that on a Cobalt miter saw that I bought for floors specifically, but it was at a great price, so that didn't really matter to me, because I could just turn around and replace one very easily based off of the number of flooring jobs that I've done. So when you're dealing with that platform and you hear a lot of bad reviews about it, it makes you nervous, especially if you're trying to use it. Craftsman has been considered a DIY or hobbyist, or maybe an entry-level tool, for a very long time when it comes to their power tools. So V20 platform comes out, and I really don't pay it a lot of attention. Then I noticed that it looks in a lot of ways very similar to the dewalt platform. So dewalt is contractor grade. I think that they do have some less expensive stuff so that they can still get some market share for some hobbyists. But typically, if you see a yellow and black tool, it's gonna do the job and it's gonna do it right. So that made me curious. Found out that dewalt, Craftsman, Stanley, all owned by it's all one company. So my Stanley tape measures I love, made by the same people that make the dewalt drills that my father-in-law uses in his air conditioning business, and now makes the hand tools that I love. So that's kind of piqued my interest a little bit. And then what got me to get something out of that line was I bought an RV. Owning an RV, I was thinking about tires, needing to make sure that they're good all the time, making sure that if something happens on the side of the road, I can take care of it. Plus, we've got vehicles, we've got golf carts, we've got bicycles and athletic equipment, and I wanted something that could take care of it all without having to continually, bust out my pancake air compressor that I use for my tools and not having to go by like a gas station. So I started looking at the tire inflators, and Mikita was my first look, and they are able to do it, but their tool does not have an on switch. It has a trigger, and you have to hold that down the entire time you're trying to air up the tire or whatever it is you're airing up, or it shuts off. And I started thinking about how much of a hassle that would be with having a camper. I want to be able to have a tire airing up while I'm hooking things up. So hooking on one tire, I want it going while I hook the hitch onto the vehicle. I want to have another tire going while I'm hooking on the sway bars. I want everything being taken care of while I'm getting other stuff finished up to be able to leave. So I didn't like that option, so I started looking around. Then I came across dewalt, and dewalt had an option that was you could plug it into a cigarette lighter, or you could plug it into an extension cord, or you could use a battery. And I don't have any dewalt batteries, but the fact that you could plug it in two other ways really appealed to me, and it had a low flow line to air up things like air mattresses and pool floats and stuff. And using a camper, going camping a lot, doing things like that, it really made sense to have both options available. Plus, I liked that you could set your PSI, turn it on, and leave. That was what I was looking for. It was what I was really wanting, and the low flow option was just another thing that I said, when I buy one, it has to have this feature. So started looking around. Cobalt had an option that was similar use, no battery, but you could still plug it into the cigarette lighter, plug it into your extension cord, but it only did tires and basketball, football type of stuff. No low flow. The only other thing that I found was a Craftsman, and it was similar to where you could turn it on and leave it, or it had the low flow, and you could do extension cord, battery, or cigarette lighter. I didn't have the battery, but I didn't have a dewalt battery either, so I was looking at more at the other two options. The dewalt was about $30 to $40 more, and one of those power options was an attachment you still had to buy. So you really only had the one option, and I believe it was the cigarette lighter option. And then if you wanted to plug it into the secondary option, which I believe was the extension cord one, you had to buy that attachment separately. And I didn't like that because I was already looking at spending more to get on that platform anyway. So I went ahead and went with the Craftsman, and I've really loved it. I'll probably do a video about it soon. But then I kind of put in the back of my mind, if there's something that I wouldn't mind getting that's battery operated from Craftsman, where it came in a kit, that I might try it out. So fast forward 3 or 4 months, maybe a few more. Bought a new house, trimmed the hedges, had people that were going to be coming over then a day or two later, and there were the trimmings off the shrubs everywhere, and my leaf blower that I've been stretching an extension cord with for years finally broke. and it wasn't the motor or anything. It just, the housing unit broke in the move, and I started looking around. I looked around and finally found a Craftsman option. I wasn't really, having to have it be Craftsman, but I was shopping at Lowe's, and they had a kit where there was $100 leaf blower paired with $100 weed eater, and I've been stretching an extension cord with my weed eater for a long time also. So, and its guard was broke, so it wasn't like it's brand new. So looked a little bit further into it. Both of those $100 options were in a kit for $129, and I decided to give it a try. It came with a 2 amp hour battery. So now I have a battery for the inflator that I already used. That was part of that expansiveness that I was talking about, where now I have a leaf blower, a weed eater, and a leaf blower. And then I started looking around, and I have a job that I need to do, but I don't do this type of job a lot. And I'll do a separate review off of all these tools later, but I needed an oscillating multi-tool. They had a tool only one for 80 bucks. So I decided to pick that up because, having to look at the difference between Mikita and Craftsman. So, because now I'm on both platforms. So, and I have a 12 volt and 18 volt Mikita. So looking at all three of those options, what's the better price? What am I going to put through hard use? What is going to be regular use? I decided that was going to give the Craftsman one a try. I like the blade change, the way it changes blades, better than the Mikita option, and it also saves money over both of those Mikita platforms, the 12 and the 18. So it does put off a lot of vibrations. I've already kind of messed with it a little bit, haven't actually done the job yet where I've cut the mantle that I'm building, but I know that over time that vibration can really wear you out, kind of hurt your hands a bit. But based off of how much I use an oscillating tool, I figured it would probably be worth going with the less expensive option, because I do have to think like a businessman and make sure that I'm not spending more just because I would prefer to spend it on that one option. If I have a good option for less money, I need to go ahead and follow it. So, picked up that tool, started looking around some more. They've got a shop vac, they've got lights, they've got all kinds of other power tools options that I've been looking at getting in the Mikita line, and it's really gonna come down to, does the tool take care of what I needed to take care of, and how hard am I gonna work this tool? Am I gonna burn it up faster, tear it up, and it not be any good where I still have to replace it soon anyways? Or is it gonna last me based off of how much I use? And as far as what I can tell to this point, the v20 lineup is really expansive. It's gonna have most of the options that everyone's gonna want. And if you're using it as an apprentice level, or maybe you are a contractor but you're not utilizing that specific tool on a day-to-day basis where you're putting it through the hard use that's gonna tear it up, it may be worth looking into. So far so good with everything that I'm looking at, and I'm really impressed with the different options that they have. On the charger that came with mine, you can charge their 12 volt or their 20 volt option, and in their 20 volt lineup they have a 2 amp hour, a 4 amp hour, I believe they have a 6 amp hour battery, and they have a 9 amp hour battery, which is massive, but I can only imagine how much work you can get done off of a 9 amp hour battery, and what you can power with that kind of tool, battery. So far so good. And if we're kind of on the fence like I was, I'm at this point apprehensively telling you it might not be so bad. Definitely do your homework, check other reviews, check the reviews on Lowe's or wherever it is that you're looking at buying that tool from, so that you can really get the best information possible. It is hard to weed through the people who had bad experiences because they had higher expectations than what that tool really deserves, or because they're inexperienced with that tool and don't understand power tools to begin with. So keep it in mind when you're out doing those reviews. But I've been doing carpentry work since I was 17 years old, um, and so far so good with that. My mechanical expertise is not very high, so for the very little bit that I am capable of, everything that I've hit so far, it seemed to be okay for. So if you have any better information than I do, make sure you leave it down in the comments. We want to hear from you, because I'm going to use that information the same as other people watching the video. Keep looking out for those tool videos that are going to be coming in the future. I'm probably going to do more tool videos. I've got a lot of Mikita that I could review, a lot of hand tools and things like that. So if you haven't already done so, subscribe and hit the bell. That way when those tool reviews come out, you can be one of the first people notified about it. And you know, if this video has helped maybe educate you a little bit on why expansiveness on a battery platform is important, or if you were able to jump off the fence and actually utilize a V20 platform because of the recommendation, give us a thumbs up and tell us what you bought and how it's been for you. So thanks again for watching Van on the Loose. We'll catch you next time. I'm gonna run into the store real quick and finish some errands up.